There we go, it's been a day, my throat has recovered. We've already looked at this damn stat screen. Let's get to it. Chapter 7, Swung. Rosamond, will you quit making such an awful racket? I'm trying to have a conversation with Grimith, Grandma bellows across the room. Even though there's complete silence coming from Grandma's end of the holographic me call, you know Grandma's the only one who can hear her conversations with plants. I'm terribly sorry about that, Grandma sighs, still looking distracted. Rosamond has been quarreling with her sister about the water rations. I'm afraid I've been overwatering. Oh, for heaven's sakes, Rosamond, it's not like we're in the Mojave. Grand, we don't have much time, you say, glancing at the hollow clock on the wall. Ginny is in the shower getting ready for tonight's live taping. You're only allotted 1 hour of camera-free time to prepare, and that's only because Ginny signed a secret identity contract to make appearances only as Null. She gets paid less, of course, but it also gives her some no-camera time to be just plain old Ginny. A perk you've managed to mooch, being her contestant, mansion roommate. You really wanted to room with Black Magic, but the producers decided to separate you for some reason. Never mind all that, Grandma says, fingers circling her temples. You and Ginny must be positively bursting. The ratings for last night's show were unbelievable. They've had to up the security detail here at the Muse because of all the fans hoping to catch a glimpse of you. Honestly, your parents were famous, Grimith, but this... I know, Gran, you say, excitement bubbling. It seems that sometimes when they say overnight sensation, you really mean it. Gran, do you think... You stop yourself, not sure you want to know the answer. I'm not sure whether they get to watch 3V in the Devoid, Grandma says, but I've been capturing every detail in my letters to your parents, since I know how busy the show is keeping you. And don't you worry, we've hit a little hiccup in my return letter writing petition, but I'm not giving up. You nod, thinking of how nice it would be if your parents could actually see for themselves how well you're doing. If only you could hear from them just once. Well, anyway, you know Bobby down the street? She's the one married to that awfully cheesy hero, the Decorator? The Decorator? Such a shame. Anyway, she used to work in 3V development, and she thinks the show is such a smash because of the exclusive coverage. No news crew got as much in-depth information about Kulik's terrorist attack as the Hero Project. Those pigeon cameras were simply genius. It seems your little program isn't just about hero celebrities anymore. It's a first-rate source for national news. They're telling us it's one of the highest-rated episodes in the history of television, you say, beaming. I can't quite wrap my head around that yet. It is rather unbelievable, though I still think it was a shame of that scoundrel girl, wasn't it? To make it so far, then just throw it all away like that. What is it with these bird women from the fringes? You've been wondering the same thing. You can't help but feel bad for Scoundrel, who was moved to the eliminated finalist sequester house right when you got back to the Hero Project compound last night. They even flew her on another plane separate from the rest of the final 13 like some kind of leper. You can only hope you never have that experience. But that's not important. How are you feeling about everything, Grandma asks. You pause. It's a question you've given a lot of thought to. The nation got to see me capture a terrorist. It doesn't get much better than that. It's a shame the whole team didn't see fit to follow orders. We might have gotten Kulik if they had. This just goes to show why the whole team thing doesn't work. We should be considered solo heroes who work together only when absolutely necessary. I wasn't thrilled with my leaderboard score, but I can't focus on that now. Who cares how I feel about it? I'm slugging famous. As long as I looked like a real hero, I don't much care about anything else. I really wish they'd just let us do our own thing. I feel suffocated playing by all these rules. Some of these obviously have weightings towards other things. But I think the Fame monster here is going to care most about fame. Which means, who the fuck cares how I feel? I'm fucking famous, Grandma. My public statistics have also all gone up, you say, having checked your stat screen meters the moment the episode finished airing last night. My legend just keeps climbing higher and higher. You also checked your bank account since you received your first automatic deposit for participating in the Hero Project. You practically memorized the salary rundown that was part of your massive contract. Let's look at it. Here comes the money. Alright. Cool. We still have tons of cash, though, so this really isn't a concern for us. Great. It's all terribly exciting, Grandma says. Every Wednesday and Thursday night, the plants and I gather around the 3V to watch. Though Ginny does frighten some of them in that awful null suit of hers. They've actually been wanting me to ask. She doesn't have a flamethrower on there, does she? Not that I've seen, but I have to ask. I'll have to ask, you say. Noticing that behind Grandma, Tropez sways away from the screen at the mention of Null. Have you been keeping up with the Victon campaign coverage? I've been trying to, but they limit our access to most media here, and it's not exactly like I'm spending buckets of time with Jury. Well, the national debates are coming up, but Victon is mostly on the campaign trail in the swing states. He did issue a joint statement with that awful Constance woman from the Meek. They praised the Hero Project's successes in your first mission. It's all well and good, but the both of them clearly have horses in this particular race. Otherwise, I suspect they might be singing a very different kind of tune. Grandma trails off looking disgusted, and you can't really blame her. It's a terrifying prospect, the idea of Jury and Inherit both winning spots of the American Protectorate, especially if Mayor Victon wins the presidential election. That would be a formula for an America that you don't think you'd recognize, or feel particularly welcome in, given the Meek's political agenda. You can't help but feel pretty powerless against these forces, though now that you have the Hero Project as a platform, maybe you can find a way to take a few swipes at Victon and the Meek, or to help change public opinion on Infinity-powered. How's that looking? Okay. But I suppose I've got my own horse to worry about, Grandma says, smirking. How do you feel about your chances tonight? I mean, you don't think you'll be voted off, do you? This is a question you've been thinking about all night and all day. You flash back to the confessional session you taped just before your me call to Grandma. 1 hour earlier. Now, I know you're exhausted, darling, but I just have a few confessional questions for you, to get some color for tonight's live voting episode, Gigi says, sitting behind a set of camera orbs of a bejeweled clipboard nestled in his enormous lap. As Gigi speaks, you look down at a readout on your me chip that explains the voting process, which has also been saved to your show stats screen. The Hero Project voting rules. Finalists eligible for vote: Fumble, Stage Show, Wintry, Mock Girl, and The Ineffable. All remaining 13 finalists will cast 2 votes each for 2 of the eligible finalists. The 2 eligible finalists with the most votes will then be nominated. The nominated finalists with the lowest percentage of the public vote will be eliminated. America has been casting votes to save their favorite eligible finalists since last night. Now, as you saw in last night's episode, Inherit and Jury have become rather tight-knit. Additionally, you saw how chummy your roommate, Noel, and the bear were on Team 1, exchanging clever quips on their stakeout. But did you know that after all the other working heroes were cut in final selection, the bear tried to join the populars? Stage Show shunned him, so the bear glommed onto Noel. What do you think about this? You paused, then looked from the camera to Gigi. Are you allowed to be telling me all this? I'm not telling you anything. I'm asking you in-depth questions, Gigi winks at you. That would require you to provide an answer, Dumpling. So, we know who the Null is, of course. Let's dip into our handy-dandy notebook here. She doesn't even have, like, a fucking dossier. But, let's look at the bear. Right, the gay cultural icon. Yes. Partying, promiscuous dating life. Wears a revealing pink leotard. Okay. I've read enough. I think for the purposes of this, I don't really know either Noel or the bear that well. This is all being recorded. Yeah, this is all being recorded. Well, I don't love the bear myself. It's pretty gay boys like that who always bullied me the most simply for being me. Who always bullied me the most simply for being me. Why is it that gay men are encouraged to be so nasty to one another? Gigi says, looking at the floor for a moment. Besides, I heard he relies way too much on those powers of his in the boudoir. Escandalo. Escandalo. You chuckle a little, not needing to push Gigi on this particular topic at the moment. Nanny-hoo, my next question is about your little tete-a-tete with Lucky. How does black magic feel about this? Could there be an extra little showmance brewing here? It turns out Lucky is an old friend. And just that. A friend. Now, there have been some interesting finalist developments. Are you aware that the self-proclaimed Popular Alliance, Inherit, Jury, Black Magic, Fumble, and Stage Show will probably all vote together, especially because there's an opposing alliance, the newly minted Underdog Alliance of Null, the Bear, Mock Girl, Wintry, and Lucky opposing them. Since Summit of the Crush have said they're not affiliating with any alliances, it's projected that Wintry and Mock Girl will each get 5 votes, and Fumble and Stage Show will each get 5 votes. This time, my friend, makes you the swing vote. How do you feel about this? You paused because you hadn't realized the finalists were so evenly split, or that you had become the swing vote. I'm the swing vote? I mean, sure, of course, for the story purposes, I have to be the one who's deciding situation, right? Summit and the Crush, though, are like, fuck this shit. We don't give a fuck. Man, what a shit show up there in that Popular Alliance. Ugh. Jury. Inherit. Fumble and Stage Show after what happened during our last mission, especially with Fumble. But they tried to follow orders. Yeah. Is it Fumble's fault that he didn't properly lead? Or was it Lucky's fault for basically splintering off Mock Girl and Wintry from the leadership? Because if she hadn't spoken up, it's not like those tunnels got flooded. This motherfucker here, though, after the history we've had with Jury. Inherit, Black Magic. Son of a bitch. Meanwhile, the Underdog Alliance, we've got Null, Jenny, of course, our longtime companion and friend, who's been our handler. Mock Girl and Wintry, we haven't seen too much from them. You know, we just did the mission together. Lucky, of course, is our childhood amigo, who we shared our very first kiss with, went to a dance. And then that whole hullabaloo with our parents happened. Remind me who Summit is? Right, famously outspoken anti-powered advocate. Yeah. Also he's also a vocal opposer of the meek. Crazy dystopian zealots. Okay. Cool. I mean, obviously our fame monster can't agree with him and everything. Alright, we know who, oops. We know who, See, those radio buttons like that and me accidentally clicking is how I'm worried I'm gonna end up with the fucking perfect legend guide. I can't, like, disable the damn thing. And it always, like, default selects when I go on that screen. Anyway, we are the swing vote. Or that you would become the swing vote, meaning that whoever you choose to side with will be more likely to stay safe and in power for the rest of the competition. Most importantly, this should mean that no one will be targeting you in tonight's vote, since both sides will be hoping to recruit you. So how do you think you'll be voting? Gigi asks, breaking your train of thought. Are you sure I can't just vote for Jury, you say? And Gigi's outbreak of delighted giggles gives you some time to think. There's so much to weigh, but you also know that this is just a confessional session. While the public may see this, you're not committed to whatever you say here. Of course, I still have some time to change my mind, but for now I plan to vote with the alliance I'm already associated with, vote with my girlfriend no matter what, not ruin my chances with Lucky, whatever they might be. Vote based purely on the strategy that'll get me the furthest. Vote based on who deserves to stay and who deserves to go. Vote for whatever will make the public happiness. Vote in a way that will serve as much I think we're going to vote based purely on the strategy that will get me the furthest in the competition. Yeah. That sounds like us. Oh, whatever you decide, this vote will be very telling, even though the votes are technically anonymous. And Summit and the Crush are staying tight-lipped. Everyone will probably know how you voted because of the split, so choose carefully. Slugger, it looks like there won't be any hiding. You'll either have to side with the underdogs and vote for Fumble and Stage Show, or side with the populars and vote for Wintry and Mock Girl. Or you could try to stay neutral and split your votes by voting for one finalist from each alliance. Now, I could never tell you what to do, of course, but if I were you, I'd say being popular is always the best way to assure victory, wouldn't you? With you, there would be 6 populars, and there are going to be 6 winners, and Rexford does love him some star power. Gigi winks. After saying this, Gigi makes direct eye contact with you, a clear indication that this message is being handed down directly from Rexford himself. That's a compelling argument to tell him to get fucked now, isn't it? It is. Before you have the chance to respond, Gigi starts to scoot away. Anyway, I have more interviews to conduct, my little bumpkin. You best go get some mingling in for the cameras, yes? You nod as you stand to leave, your mind running itself in circles. Can you really trust what Gigi is telling you? And which of the other finalists are you going to side with, if any? How are you going to make a decision this big in less than a day? And what will Rexford do if you upset him? Looks like you have plenty of thinking to do. I can't talk about any of that, Gran. We cut back into present. We don't have anywhere near the money to pay for that breach of contract lawsuit, but you better believe I'll do my best to stay. Speedy's capture has apparently led to some very good intel on Kulik, so I don't want to miss our next mission. I actually have a couple hours to get some strategizing in, so I should probably... Then get on with it! Yes, Grandma. Though do tell Ginny I said hello, and I don't have to say it, I'm sure, but you two had better stick together. And watch out for that jury. You know you can never trust a victim. You nodded, Grandma, because any other answer would be unacceptable. Is that my favorite Granny Gardner? Ginny says, stepping out of the bathroom in a towel, steam billowing out behind her. Indeed it is, and she happens to be leaving, Grandma says, waving towards Ginny. Now you two be careful, I couldn't be more proud. Hugs and kisses. You both wave goodbye, Grandma's holographic image, as all the plants behind her shake and shimmy. Once Grandma drops from sight, you turn to find Ginny already wriggling into her costume. You have to blink a few times to remind yourself this is all really happening. This time last year, you were just a normal civilian, and Ginny was your PFPP agent. If someone had told you this is where you'd both be sitting today, you're not sure if you'd believe it. We don't have another second to waste, Ginny says, pulling up her null undertights, so listen up. I've been dying to talk to you, but that bloody sequester, Ginny says, checking to make sure her anti-surveillance tech is working properly. After making the final 14, all the finalists were sequestered for the week with their respective handlers. You and Gigi were holed up in some fancy hotel room while he prepped you for all things Hero Project. You thought it might be relaxing, but Gigi isn't exactly low-key, especially since his role in the show as a handler hinges on your success, too. Anyway, you've been dying to talk to Ginny, but now is the very first moment alone you've had in a week. Have you received any more wicked meme messages, Ginny asks? No, Slugger only knows what those were about. Now, will you please tell me what dirt you found from our little hacking during the final selection? I did find out who approved the Crush's release from the Devoid, Ginny says, looking severe. Mayor Victon, with an additional recommendation from Rebellion and Rexford. Of course Mayor Victon had something to do with this awfulness surrounding the Crush. Why wouldn't he? Still, several questions begin to form. What does Mayor Victon have to gain by helping the Crush join the Hero Project, you ask first? I believe it's purely a purely political move to reinforce Victon's powered regulation platform with a public success story from his very favorite place, the Devoid. He's probably just waiting to make sure the Crush actually succeeds before linking himself to the placement. So does that mean there's no terrorist mole, you follow up? I still think there's enough intel to support the theory that there's something else going on with the Crush, even if Mayor Victon, Rebellion, and the Hero Project don't know about it. Ginny is probably right, something isn't quite adding up. Between the intel on a terrorist plot, the connection to an Infinity-powered, the Crush's alarming presence, and Kulik's national-level attacks, you feel there's some connection you're still missing. But is Mayor Victon in on this plot, or is he just an unknowing pawn? After what he allowed to happen with Prodigal, you don't think there are limits to what he'd do for his political aspirations. And if the Victons are involved, Jury must be too. These are all things you'll have to keep in mind as the competition continues, especially if you can find some way to use this to take Victon and Jury both down. So what do we do next, you ask? We get close to the Crush to stop or expose him, Ginny answers. I tried on my mission with Team 1, but he wasn't biting. Maybe he'll talk to you, though. You're both Infinity. And maybe... Ginny stops herself, her fingers twisting at the skin of her elbow. Maybe I can use the potential connection to my parents in the Devoid, you say? Ginny nods, looking guilty. I can certainly try, you say, forcing a smile. So, hey, Ginny starts, obviously wanting to move on. How is everything going with your new Infinity powers? I'm being careful, don't worry, you say, trying to sound as unconcerned as possible, and it's true. So far, your powers have been working perfectly. Maybe the Heroologist was just being dramatic with her overblown diagnosis. Besides, shouldn't we talk about the vote, you say, wanting to change the subject? You've got enough to worry about today without adding your Infinity powers to the mix. That particular headache can wait for another day. I'm voting with the underdogs, and obviously you are too, Ginny says, walking back to the bathroom. So what's there to discuss? Instead of answering that question, you let out a yawn. Ever since making the final 14, you've been moving a breakneck pace. After last night's mission, you didn't get to bed until 3 in the morning, having to fly all the way back from New York City to Millennia City. Then you had to be up a few hours later for a press junket. This is the first second you've had to catch your breath and think about tonight's vote. Despite Jenny's mandate, you haven't fully decided what you're doing yet, so you need to take the time to figure that out now. Knock-a-doodle-doo. Slugger. Figures. So I don't really care for this mandate. As Jenny throws on her faceless null mask, you open the door to find Gigi sitting there, the usual grin stretched across his face. I was just on my way back to my room. I simply must get a bubble bath in before tonight's live show, but I wanted to remind you two raspberries that now might be a perfect time to mingle for a smidge. After hitting you with a knowing wink, Gigi rolls off down the hallway, giggling as he goes. Is your handler this involved? You ask, turning to Null. Slugger, no, she says, sliding on her rocket launcher headgear. And thank heavens for that. 10 minutes later. Now in full costume, you walk down the second-floor hallway, your hero boots thudding against the hardwood floors as you head towards the other finalist bedrooms. Null was on her way to have coffee with her new bestie, the bear. They're obviously not terribly worried about the vote, since neither of them are eligible. They already know how they're voting. But you thought you owed it to your teammates this week to chat with them before the vote. So knowing you'll only have time for one conversation, who are you going to talk to? I do not want to talk to Fumble and Stage Show. Oh, man. Look at these losers. I think this Fame Monster is still seething over how Fumble and Stage Show were like they're together, they're a couple, they're a team, they were both ahead of him on the fucking leaderboard. And it was all like, woo, yes, 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 it's great, yes. Lucky was first, though, with all the initiative that she showed despite schisming away from Rebellion's orders. No, I don't think this Fame Monster went to see Fumble or Stage Show again. The Popular Alliance. Ginny said that obviously I'm voting for the underdogs, and I have no fucking clue whether that's true. Let's meet with Wintry. I don't know a whole lot about them other than like a little brief interaction, so let's dip into the contestant files here. Let's look at Mock Girl? Yeah, Mock Girl. I gotta look at them both anyway. She's 16. The Confederate slams. You can fly at supersonic speeds. Wears a tight pink flight suit covered with white Confederate stars. Local low-level hero work, small-town girl charm. Okay. And then Wintry. Oh, yeah. The empty nester, housewife. Okay, yeah, I completely forgot. All-white faux fur-lined parka jumpsuit. Yeah, let's go meet with Wintry. Sure. You knock on the door to Wintry's room, and she opens the door with a warm smile. Oh, fuck, they're probably bunking together. Yeah, they're bunking together, like they're fucking roommates, so... I'm meeting with them both anyway. The choice was irrelevant, because obviously Fumble and Stage Show are gonna be together. The ineffable, Wintry says a little too loudly. I'm sorry, I'm still not used to famous heroes showing up at my door. Please, come in. Yes, famous heroes, yes. Wintry ushers you into the room, and you can't help but smile. Being thought of as a famous hero will never get old. Oh, were you here to see Mock Girl? She says, folding her hands together. She'll be right back. She's just grabbing some food. Oh, can I get you anything? We don't have much in the room. I miss my kitchen so much. Before you can even answer, Wintry's opening in a mini fridge in the corner, pulling out a plate of cheeses and a vine of grapes. That's when you notice the rest of the room. It's perfectly neat and covered with holiday decorations. Wreaths and pine cones line the wall, accented with red and gold ribbon. You're immediately filled with a happy feeling in this room. It's like an actual family lives here, though one that is filmed 24 hours a day with 5 wall-mounted motion-sensitive cameras, you also note. Now, I know the decorations are a bit much, Wintry says, handing you the tray of cheeses, but I just love the holidays. I guess it's a bit literal given my powers, but we are who we are, right? You smile and pop a grape into your mouth, failing to suppress an involuntary shiver that runs through your body. It can't be much more than 40 degrees in here. Another side effect, I'm afraid. Poor Mock Girl has to sleep with 3 blankets when I'm in the room, Wintry says, pulling a stray thread from her parka costume. Anyway, how can I help you? I came here to give you a fair chance in the vote. Oh! Oh my, I just thought... Well, I was hoping you'd say that. Lord, why am I sweating so much? I never sweat. Wintry begins to fan herself with her palm, little wisps of icy wind blowing from her fingertips. Is that your family, you ask, looking at a photo on the nightstand and hoping it'll put Wintry more at ease. Oh yes, yes it is. That's my Richard and Kendall and Morgan. Kendall is so excited we used to play superhero dress-up when she was a little girl. She used to call herself Princess Loom because her special power was making bracelets. But now... there. Next thing you know, tears are sliding down Wintry's porcelain-white cheeks. She's the blondest, fairest woman you've ever seen, rail-thin but somehow still sturdy. As the tears slide out of her ice-blue eyes, they freeze into tiny icicles that dribble down her face. I'm so sorry, this is absurd, she says, wiping the icicles so they crack on the floor in tiny chimes. I just missed them, is all. Of course you do, you say, thinking of Grandma. You reach out to place a hand on her shoulder, but as you do it goes immediately numb. Wintry recoils at your touch, jumping backwards. Man, her life must be really hard, huh? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Hey, you two having a party without me? Mock Girl says amidst a rush of wind as she zooms into the room. In her hand she holds 5 protein bars, in addition to the one she's chowing down on. You stare at the stack, not sure what to say. Oh, these? My metabolism is as fast as the rest of me, Mock Girl says, munching away. I have to eat whenever I can. Thankfully, Wintry here likes to keep a full fridge. Mock Girl smiles from ear to ear, and you can practically feel her energy from across the room. She's quite the sight, a 6-foot-tall 16-year-old with coffee-colored skin, almond eyes, and cascading jet-black hair. Her lean, long body is covered from head to toe in a pink flight suit, which is decorated liberally with white Confederate stars. My poor mom, she usually has to cook all day to keep me properly fed during the week, Mock Girl says, slopping down onto her bed and talking a mile a minute. But I've been losing a ton of weight since getting here. What I wouldn't give to have some of my mother's lamb stew right about now. She was raised in Turkey, you know. She has all the best. Caroline, dear... Oh, or Carolyn. Oh, why don't we let the ineffable tell us why he has decided to pay us a visit? Wintry interjects, pulling up a chair for you. Oh, duh, I'm such a mess. I'm sorry, Mock Girl says. I always talk too much, so just interrupt whenever I need to shut up. I try to remind myself to slow down, you know, take time to smell the roses, but... You and Wintry exchange a look, and Mock Girl nods. Right. Got it. My lips are sealed. Mock Girl shoves the rest of the protein bar in her mouth, an indication that she'll let you talk. Looking from Wintry to Mock Girl, you can't help but think... As long as it makes me look good to the viewers, I don't care who I have to talk to. I do like them. I don't really like them, but I like them. At least the Fame Monster does. I think they're alright. The Fame Monster doesn't give a damn. Would even talk to Jury. Probably. Probably. Well, I'm here to talk about the vote. As you say this, Wintry's smile instantly fades. She studies her thumbs, which stay steadfastly clasped in her lap. We actually were talking about this earlier, Mock Girl says, oblivious to Wintry's sudden gasp. We were kind of afraid that you'd side with the popular heroes. I mean, you being more in their league and all, we're just a bunch of nobodies. Well, I wouldn't exactly say that, you say. After all, you made it to the final 13 of the Hero Project. Trust me, this is way more than I ever could have dreamed of, Mock Girl says, sitting up and tapping her leg super fast against her comforter. I only ever wanted to be a powered hero. I mean, when I was a little girl and my Barbies were super Barbies, my parents still think I'm too young, but I always tell them all the best heroes get their starts as teenagers. Oh, but not you, Wintry. You're doing just fine. Wintry offers a tight nod, but she makes the effort to contribute. I thought I might be a hero when I was your age, but then I met Richard, and having a family just had to come first. Now that my children are in college, I just thought, well, I'm here, aren't I? Yes, we both are, and it's amazing, Mock Girl says. But Wintry was really afraid about tonight's vote. Still, I told her it was going to work out just fine. Did you really? You ask, wishing you had the same confidence. These two show the proper deference and respect. The ineffable certainly is not a nobody. He is somebody for sure. Well, do you think you'll vote with us for Fumble and Stage Show? I mean, we'd have our 2 votes, and Lucky's, and then the bear and that scary null lady said they'd vote with us too. That's 5 of us. 6 if we count you, and didn't they say we'd have 6 winners? Mock Girl, are you proposing a final 6 alliance of underdogs, you ask? Well, I think that's the best, don't you? I mean, I used to love Fumble and Stage Show's 3v show back in the day, but they aren't really heroes. They're just in it for the fame. That's probably the biggest problem this character, the Ineffable, has with Fumble and Stage Show. They're after the same thing he is. Fame. There can be only one. At that, Wintry glances up at the camera orb that's been hovering in the corner ever since you arrived. I think they're a lovely couple. It's really a shame that any of us have to go home at all. Ignoring Wintry, you decide it's time to say what you really came here to say, with the story reminding us that the cameras are watching. Will we join their alliance and be loyal to the underdogs? Will we probably vote with them and maybe split the middle? We join their alliance, but maybe betray them, because we're going to do what's best for business. Not going to vote based on alliance, which finalist deserves to stay hero. Just want to give them the heads up here, hero. Tell Wintry and Mock Girl that I'll be voting for them and do it as harshly as I can. Yeah, sure, I'll join your alliance. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep, I'm right here with you. Hey, you can count on me. I'm all in for everything, you say, spreading a smile across your face, because you want these two complacent. The last thing you need is them messing up the vote for you, by scrambling to change things. Mock Girl yelps and floats upwards, breaking into an impromptu mid-air backflip. Wintry's whole body relaxes, and you swear you can feel the room get a few degrees warmer. Just then an announcement rings through the house. All finalists, your call time for the live episode is in 5 minutes. You take a deep breath, trying to center yourself because it's about to go down. You head back towards your room, butterflies unexpectedly churning in your stomach. Nothing about tonight is going to be particularly easy. You're about to have a hand in ending the biggest career prospects of another hero. How did that go, young Scaramouche? Gigi says, appearing around the corner. For someone so girthy, he does have a way of sneaking up on you. I did what I had to do, you say. Oh, well, a quick word of advice before you go, Gigi says, rolling up close to you. Whatever Wintry and Mock Girl said to you, I'd think twice about trusting them. How do you... No, I've already said too much, just take my word for it. With that, Gigi spins away from you, leaving you with quite a bit to consider. Can you really trust what Gigi's telling you? I don't trust him for a second. He's still a producer with an agenda. I mean, it also doesn't matter because I'm making my own mind, but I still don't fucking trust him. Gotta evaluate what the hell he says, man. Probably knows how to play this game better than I do. You push open your door, hoping for 5 minutes to yourself to decide what your best move will be. But when you walk inside, you find black magic sitting on your bed. I gotta learn how to block this fucking door. Well, hello, stranger, Black Magic says, leaning back. Funny, you notice that we never see each other too, you say. Why do you say that like it's my fault, Black Magic says, standing to kiss you. But you just turned away and closed the door. This is not a conversation you want to get into a few minutes before having to go on National 3V. But the truth is, you haven't seen your so-called girlfriend for any real amount of time since you started dating. And that's been thanks in part to Black Magic's initial, not in public policy. Maybe it's because you've been spending time chatting with that little lucky number, Black Magic says, crossing her arms. You are incredulous. You don't want to do this now. Look, I don't have feelings for Lucky. Even though the character obviously pines to have feelings for Lucky, with the first kiss and the fucking dance, too much time has passed. So many things have happened. We're just not the same person we were then. No. That's insane. I'm with you. Period. I really hope that's true, because that's actually what I'm here to make sure of. I heard that you paid a little visit to Wintry and Mock Girl. I hope it was to offer your condolences for having to vote with them. Because you are with us populars, right? Ha! I'm going to do what I feel is best for me. And you should do the same. Bitch. Well then, let me make this very simple for you, Black Magic starts. Join the populars and vote for Wintry and Mock Girl, or we're over. Without giving you a chance to respond, she stomps out of the room. So that went well. Sighing deeply, you head into the bathroom to try and gather yourself before the vote. How could Black Magic give you an ultimatum like that? Nothing is so black and white. She of all people should know that. As you lean over to the sink to throw some water on your face, you notice a crunched up piece of paper and the otherwise empty trash can. Not remembering that there from before, you lean down, grab the paper, and smooth it over. It's a handwritten note which reads, "It was so great getting to spend time with you. I hope we can keep doing so, and that you'll pick the right side in all of this silliness. XX." Like, what the slugger is this doing in the trash? Did Black Magic come in and find this, then throw it out? If so, why would she leave it here? Did she want you to know she saw it and then threw it out? As you stare down at the piece of paper, a wave of anger runs through you. Because you don't like mind games. 2 hours later. You stand on stage in the Hero Project auditorium, 1,000 lights shining down on you and a countless number of cameras recording you at every angle. The live episode has already begun, but you're in the corner of the stage in an elaborate voting booth, because it's finally time to cast your vote. You know that so much weighs on this decision. Your potential allies moving forward, your strategic place in the competition, your relationship with Jenny, your romantic prospects, your identity as a hero, your public image, and ultimately, the future of your career. You had better vote wisely, because another hero's fate rests in your hands. Not to mention the fact that within the hour, the entire nation is going to know what you decided to do. You stare down at the voting machine, which is a button for each eligible hero: Fumble, Stage Show, Mock Girl, and Wintry. Vote for the 2 heroes you want to nominate for elimination. Do we do the Solomon baby thing? But then actually split the baby? Instead of threatening to split the baby? Ginny gave us an ultimatum. Black Magic gave us an ultimatum. Grandma obviously cares about Jenny. Lucky wrote us a note. We went to Mock Girl and Wintry's rooms and told them we were in with it everything. With them, with the whole thing. No matter what. With it all. But ultimately, we're here to do what's best for us. So, siding with the popular alliance means being with Inherit and Jury and Fumble and Stage Show and Black Magic. Fumble and Stage Show are fame-hungry clowns. Ha, Jury is. That's a story, but we've certainly dunked on him before. And Inherit is possibly also a fame-hungry clown. Really, Black Magic... You know, there's a reason our character connected so well with her, right? We were kind and courteous and adhered to the not in public thing. You know, we were respectful of that. Because our character was busy being a fugitive. You know how it is, right? We spent some time with her after like, we were approved into the whole thing. We didn't talk about the show, of course. We spent that time practicing our powers, damn it. And then you have these underdogs here of Null, the Bear, Mock Girl, Wintry, some other person whose name I forgot. Lucky. Right, I forgot Lucky. You know, I think this is a combination of multiple things. First and foremost, fame. Be with the popular kids. They're the most incompetent ones as well. So, you know, be close to them so you can take them, especially Jury. It will hurt to be on Jury's same team, but, you know. Oh, shit. Also eases things up. You know, it shows that we are with Black Magic. You can stop fucking doubting, because this is like a relationship like Crossroads right now, too. This character has apparently been willing to do things for Black Magic, and Ginny has been with us for a while, but Ginny's also been, you know... We're helping with the investigation, not mortgaging our entire life. We're great friends, but, just like, well, of course you're going to vote with the underdogs, duh. And, you know, considering how Jury's on the other side, that's fair. It's fair. But Mock Girl and Wintry and Scoundrel all pretty much said get fucked to what Rebellion said, and even though we may not value Rebellion and everything forever, we may not even value teams after what happened, last time. It's a big deal. What I'm saying is I think this Fame Monster is gonna vote for Mock Girl and Wintry. It keeps things all right between himself and Black Magic, which is good. Gotta smooth that over, It helps to damper any expectations on, well, hell, it just does a lot of things, really. Why not side with the popular kids? Fucking popular. I am special. They were right to kowtow and genuflect before me. My popularity go down? Bastards. Yes, they were right to genuflect before me, Mock Girl and Wintry. They should. I am famous. And, this is what it's like, baby. But, there's just a twinge of guilt, Like just this twinge of guilt. Trust, betrayal. It's gonna be recorded, preserved for all time. Crushing the dreams of other people like this. People who are better, arguably, than Fumble and Stage Show, but the Fame Monster's not really a good person, is he? He is doing this to make a positive difference in the world. He's helping others, but also he did it for him. It's alright to be selfish. It's alright to do things for you. Okay. Mock Girl and Wintry. No, we ain't splitting any fucking baby. Let's go. Team Popular, baby. Team Black Magic. Take a deep breath, you cast your votes, it's done. Just wait for the fallout. You sit in the front of the stage 45 minutes later with the rest of the eligible finalists of Team 2 sweating underneath your costume. You've been sitting here for the better part of an hour as Colton dragged on the results show, your heart pounding out of your chest. Even though you feel good about your vote, you've been dreading this moment. Right now they're playing a video of contestant mention drama, so you watch yourself in Wintry and Mock Girl's room talking about the vote. The producers are doing their best to set up the tension, making it clear that who goes home will depend on your swing vote. They've edited out most of your responses, however, instead using close-ups of you looking confused or thinking very hard. Obviously, they don't want to indicate which way you'll be voting until the big reveal, which you realize as the holo video starts playing is starting now. Riveting stuff, Colton says, turning away from the screen. This vote should be quite the shocker. Now there are 13 finalists voting, which means we'll have 26 votes total. I think it's best we just get down to it. What do you think? Colton smiles as the audience erupts into some applause, shouting in support of their favorite heroes. Thankfully, you can make out some of the ineffable shouts amidst the din. Alright, everyone, here we go. Our first set of votes is for Mock Girl and the Ineffable. Official vote tally. Oh no, we gotta vote. Okay? Quit fucking panicking, Story. Whatever. Be confident, Fame Monster. Jeez. Mock Girl sends you a frown from her seat downstage and you bite your lip. Slugger, you hope there aren't any more votes for you. Alright, let's reveal our next set of votes. It is for the Ineffable and Wintry. Sure, okay. After 2 sets of votes have been revealed, the Ineffable has the most votes. It's okay. Quit falling for Colton's thing. I suppose metagame-wise, we know the story goes on, and it probably doesn't involve us getting removed from the Hero Project. Moving on, the next set of votes is for Fumble and Stage Show, and we have 5 sets of this particular vote. So, one of the votes was for Mock Girl and the Ineffable, and one of the votes was for Wintry and the Ineffable. And that's probably... yeah, those 2 people will decide they want to be part of an alliance. And then Fumble and Stage Show get 5 votes each from the underdogs. Alright, it looks like all the underdogs voted the way they said they would. But you know there are still 6 sets of votes left. You just hope the populars voted the way they're supposed to as well, or else you are very screwed. This is truly nerve-wracking, isn't it? I can hardly stand it. I can't imagine how our at-risk finalists are feeling. So let's not delay, let's reveal the next set of votes. Wintry and Mock Girl. with the final 6 sets. Wintry and Mock Girl's pictures appear on the screen with the permanent vote tally. That means our 2 nominees for elimination are Wintry and Mock Girl, Colton says, causing the crowd to erupt in a cascade of boos. Feeling 1,000 sets of eyes on you as the votes are revealed, you turn to Fumble and Stage Show, who shoot you a big thumbs up. You turn behind you to find all of the populars smiling from ear to ear, including Black Magic. You also see Jury smiling wide, which makes you sick to your stomach. Then you catch a glimpse of the underdogs, especially Lucky, who shoots daggers at you with her eyes. You can't even bring yourself to glance at Null, who must be hating you right now. Wanting to avoid that particular disaster, you shift, only to find Wintry and Mock Girl looking utterly dejected. The ineffable lied right to our faces, Mock Girl stammers, on the verge of tears. I understand that you must be very upset given how close you two have become, but I'm afraid we don't have any time to spare. Can I have Wintry and Mock Girl front and center? Since last night's episode, our viewers have been voting for our 5 eligible finalists, hoping to save their favorites should they be nominated. Now that Wintry and Mock Girl have been nominated by their hero peers, it's up to America. Whichever hero received the least amount of America's votes will be going home in 13th place, leaving the hero project for good, or at least to the sequester mansion, right? Wintry and Mock Girl look to one another holding hands, realizing that one of them is about to be eliminated. They're going to sleeve split up, and one of their dreams will end, because of you, at least in part. As they stand up there, your mind turns over the numbers. Based on how the votes turned out, you figure that either Summit or the Crush voted for you and Mock Girl, while the other voted for you and Wintry. They both have their sights set on you, obviously. A fact you'll have to keep in mind. Before I hear the reveal the votes, can I have our judges' thoughts on these nominations? Colton asks. Unfortunately, we agree, given that these 2 heroes were at the bottom of their team's leaderboard, disobeying direct orders, Rebellion says. We designed this elimination process to test every aspect of our heroes' viability, Demetria adds. While they survived our judges' evaluation, albeit barely, these 2 heroes have also been singled out by their heroic peers, and now one of them must win the public's approval to stay. Rexford doesn't have anything to add, instead just smiling at you. The production team has been pushing you in the popular direction, and they seem very happy to have you save 2 of their most reputable finalists. Motherfucker. Rexford's happy. Jury's happy. Dirty business, all of it. Well, I'm afraid the time has come. We must say goodbye to one of these amazing heroes, splitting them apart in the Hero Project forever. Wintry and Mock Girl give each other one last sad look, bracing themselves for the news. You can't imagine how you'd feel if that were you and Ginny up there. Best friends and roommates, assuming Ginny even speaks to you after not voting with her. The finalist with the lower public vote leaving us tonight is Mock Girl. That means, Wintry, America has voted you into the final 12. As the noise reaches deafening levels, you watch Mock Girl hang her head, and Wintry burst into tears. I don't care, as long as it wasn't me going home. Now let's take a moment to look back on Mock Girl's incredible journey. As everyone turns to look at the holo video presentation, you notice the judges are preparing goodbye speeches. You sigh, hoping you never have to go through this yourself. How do you feel about making the final 12? I'm proud of myself. You may have survived this vote, but you know you have to ask yourself, at what cost? Something tells you that you'll find out very soon. After the ceremony ends, you walk backstage and see Null up ahead, so you run to catch up with her. Except when you tap her on the shoulder, Null just shrugs you off and walks away without a word. You may not have voted the way Ginny wanted, but it's not like she gave you a chance to discuss it. You could be just as mad at her for not voting popular, right? But you suppose you never did give her a heads up about your vote. Probably because you knew it would just end up being Ginny's way or nothing anyway. You want to say all this to Ginny, but you know you can't. Not while she's Null, and there are cameras around, and you're supposed to be strangers to each other. She's just disappointed, Lucky says from behind you. We all are. Mock Girl was... You turn to find Lucky standing there, tears in her eyes. I just can't believe you would do this. Lucky, Without giving you a chance to finish, Lucky brushes by you, wiping at her eyes as she goes. Slugger. Have to find a way to make it up to them. I hope those 2 can find a way to understand my choice. Forgive me. If that's how they want to act, then fine. I'm a popular now anyway. Or I'll have to find a way to mend some fences in case I end up needing the underdogs in the future. Yeah, probably. Against Jury or something, you know. We'll figure it out, probably. Maybe, potentially. This doesn't have to be the end, right? When you turn back around, Black Magic suddenly appears to jump into your arms. She kisses you and squeezes around your waist. Welcome to the winning team, she says. Behind Black Magic, Fumble and Stage Show join in beaming. Even Jury and Inherit hang around the welcome wagon, trying their best to seem excited. Worth it. Everything was worth it. We owe you the ineffable, Fumble says, reaching out his hand to shake, but you're one of us now. We've got your back. Until the end. As you shake Fumble's hand, Stage Show leans in to give you a kiss on the cheek, and then Black Magic grabs you again, pulling you close. Nothing can stop us now, babe. Nothing. Smiling back, you can only hope she is right.